This video is going to cover Chapter 9, Plan Sheet Production, Exercise number 1, Full Plan Sheets for Route 54 of our project. So we're at a point where we've created the corridors, we've got our templates in there, and everything looks good. We're ready to create some plan sheets. So I'm going to go down to this first exercise and start with number 1, where it says create a new folder under the Data 9 folder and name it Plan Sheets. This folder will be used with the 4 exercises for this chapter, and we'll be a storing container for all the created full plan sheets, full profile sheets, or plan profile sheets, and the plan sheets. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is create this folder in ProjectWise. So let's go to ProjectWise, bring it up. We're working on our Data 9 folder. So in here I need to create that folder, and in ProjectWise you could just simply right click over the Data 9 folder and wait it out and create a new folder. And again, we're going to call this Plan Sheets. As so, and then I'll just hit the OK button to create that folder. So anytime we create any kind of sheets for our project, we'll be able to store them into this Plan Sheets folder. Okay, so I'll minimize that. It's created. We're good to go. That brings us to step 2. We need to create a brand new 2D file named Name Boundary Full Plan Job Number Route 54. And this is the file that will be used as a container file, meaning that it will store the referenced project. So let's do that. I'm going to copy this right here. Copy. And I'm going to go to MicroStation or Power Geopack. I want to move it a little bit so I can kind of see both screens here. Keep it up and running on the right side with our Word document. So File New. So we go to the File pull down. And we're going to go to the New option. This is the backstage. We're going to go to New. And in here, we're going to make sure we got the right 2D seed file. So if I hit the seed button at the bottom, it should navigate out to the seed folder and show me that I'm working in the MoDOT design seed2d.dgn. That's exactly what I want. So I'm going to hit Open. It's going to give me this little alert saying it's read-only, and yes, I want to open it anyway. And then I'm going to come in here and I'm going to swipe through that and paste in the name of my file. Now you can see it does some funky stuff here. It looks like it's got .dgn. There's a space at the back of this, so if I get rid of that space, it gets rid of that extra .dgn, so you're good to go. And we're going to store this in the Data 9 folder. Our container file will reside in Data 9, and then we'll put the plan sheets in their own folder. So we'll go ahead and hit the OK. And we will have a blank, brand new file ready for plan sheet construction. We'll check in our corridors, Route 54. That's where we started that. Okay, so we have our blank file right now, and let's go back to our instructions, and it says step number 3 says from the reality modeling workflow set the GCS, and you can do it from file or you can do it from library. It just depends on if you've already applied a GCS to another file. We have, so we'll use that. So going back to Power Geopack, I'm going to change my workflow to reality modeling. When you do that, you've got a button over here on the geographic ribbon. Now the icons may look a little different. That's because I've taken MicroStation or Power Geopack and I've resized it, so it may look a little different. As long as you can see that little button, we're good to go. So I'm going to hit that coordinate system. Again, I've already applied it on another file, So I'm going to use this from file option. And it's going to go to our Data 9 folder. That's what you want. And I'm going to select the corridors of Route 54 because I know I've applied a GCS to it before. So hit open. When that pops up, you get two choices here because there is a default and a default 3D. It doesn't matter which one you pick because you can see the GCS description here that it's applied in both models. So I'm just going to go with the one that it defaulted to and hit the OK. And it will fill out our GCS dialog, so we're good. That brings us to step 4. We are going to reference in the corridors Route 54 job number using the live nesting depth of 1. Using a nested depth of 1 will reference in the corridors file and all the files that are needed to make up the corridor. Okay, so back to our GeoPack. Now you can change your workflow. You can use the icon from here, but I'm gonna change it. I'm gonna go to Open Roads Modeling, and then I have this large reference icon, so I'll select it. The one thing that you want to do when you're doing this is you want to open up this button over here. This is the hierarchy. It shows the hierarchy. Right now we don't have anything in this file other than itself, so there's nothing to view, but this will show you all the references that's attached. So let me show you. We'll do a Tools, Attach, and then we're looking for that corridors Route 54. This is the project file that we need, our corridors file. I'm going to add it. I'm going to hit the OK button. Now when you do this, this next dialog pops up, the attachment properties. We want to change this nested depth to 1. Okay, so again, when you do this, it'll bring all the files that created this file, this corridors file, together. So we'll go ahead and hit OK. Okay, it's flashed. It shows me, hey, there's something in here. It's the corridors file. That's all you see right now. And if I do a fit view, you can see in the background, there's our corridor. There's our project. Okay, so now if you go back to this hierarchy and hit the little plus sign, it'll open up. Now, here's the corridors file that we attached. Okay, so that's the one right below our file that we're in. You want to open this up one more time, and now you'll see here's the civil geometry. Here's the 3D, or the default for the corridors, Ramp 4. Here's terrain, 3D for Route 54, super elevation, and our land boundary. So everything comes across. Now using this live nesting is great for cross-section files and for these plan sheet files, but not really so great when we're using them in other types of files. Okay, so we've got all this in here. We're good to go, and they work the same way. All these tools, all these files can be worked over just as if they were attached to the file itself. So I'm done with that part. I'm going to go ahead and close that. And then it tells us in step number 5 to turn off, on or off, all the levels as desired before processing the sheets. And this will keep you from needing to open each created plan sheet to turn off unwanted levels, meaning that if you did turn off your template drops in here, you're going to see them in how many ever files you create. We're going to have 3 in this file, but if you had a larger project, you can see where that would be kind of a nuisance to go back and turn all that stuff off in each cut sheet. So we'll do it right here. There's the level display tool. We'll select it. Simply right click in the area below and do off by element. Okay, so we'll select that option. And then we're going to come out and we're going to turn off template drops. The corridor, we don't want to see that when it's cut. And then we'll zoom in a little bit and see what else we got here. We've got some limits of construction. Let's get rid of that. We've got these other created lines here below. Some concrete template lines that were drawn in. We have the override, our end condition exception. We'll get rid of that. You see there's more templates for that route or ramp 4, so we'll get rid of those. And the limit, or the model first, or the corridor first, and then the limits of construction. And I see I still got some more from that ramp 4, so I'll get rid of those. So when I get done, I should have my edge of pavements, civil geometry, my right-of-way lines, all the things I really want to see in my plan sheet. So that's it. That's good. So we'll go ahead and close out of the level display tool. And I'm going to hit the F4 key to get back into the element selection tool. So back in the manual, it says in the view attributes, verify that the toggle is on for constructions. When we create these named boundaries, you're going to see some boundaries out here. If this is off, you won't see them. If constructions is off, they won't show up. So we want to make sure that it's on. And you can do that just by going to the banner of your window that's open. There's a view attributes button where you can open it up. Or again, there's the pull down that you can just keep it up by your mouse, make your selection and move away, and it goes away. So however you want to do that. So just verify constructions is on. Next thing we want to do is we're going to change our ribbon, our workflow, and then go to a different ribbon. So we want to open the Open Roads Modeling Workflow, and then we're going to select Drawing Production and then the Name Boundary tool to start the process. So I go back into Power Geopack, change Open Road Modeling down to Open Roads Drawing and Production. Now here's our tabs. I'll change my tab to Drawing Production, and then on the ribbon I'm looking for one called Name Boundary. You can get it from the pull down or you can get it from the icon, either way. So once you select it, you're going to have some options that we're going to fill out for our plan sheets. So in step 8, it's optional to select the alignment to start this or fill out the dialog first. I like to make a couple of changes in here first and then select the alignment. I'll show you why I do that. First thing is we want to make sure we're in the correct tool, which is the civil plan. And then the second thing we want to look at is our design D-size full plan. And if you hit this pull down, you'll get the option to change whichever plan that you want to see. And we're going to go through all these other ones here in a bit, different videos. Okay, so here's the D-size full plan. You pick it. The scale gets kind of out of whack. We want it to be a 1 inch equals 50, so we'll change that as well. 1 inch equals 50. So once you've got that, fill out these first couple of options up here, 1, 2, 3 options. Then what you want to do is really go out and pick that alignment. Okay, so now I'm going to go out, and it tells me down here to identify the path that we're going to place these plan sheets. So I'm going to go hover over my center line, which is at Route 54. It's got an active profile of Route 54 proposed. We're just going to select that, and then the other thing is our start location. I want to change that to the beginning. So if you go to the start location after you pick that and hit this button, it'll go all the way to the beginning. Now in Power Geopack, it's telling me down here at the bottom that it's accept and identify the path, and which starts the point. So that's why I selected the alignment, and then I went out and I hit this button to get it at the beginning of the station. Now you could unselect this or deselect this and come over and select in an area to start it. It is dynamic. It's cool. So we're good. We're good on our start. There's a note in the manual below our start and stop locations, and our stop's going to be dynamic. I'm just going to place it out there when you see the sheets pop in. I'll show you how that works. But it's to do not modify the shaded area, and that has to do with this length and the offsets. If you modify that, it won't fit inside the plan sheet. So that's an important thing to remember, is do not touch those 3 items here. Now I like this overlap, and we're going to give it a 50. We're going to give it a 50-foot overlap. And what that means is when we place our first border out here, there's going to be a border out here. The next one is going to be 50 foot inside, so they overlap. And then the third one will be 50 foot inside the other one. So we've got some distance in there, and instead of being right butted up next to each other. Okay? So the next step is this boundary or create drawing. We want to leave this unchecked when we create this. So pretty much in line with all this. Let's see. And then, yeah, so we're going to go ahead, and it tells you down here, Length, offset, and options should not be adjusted after selecting the desired scale. Adjusting these will produce undesirable results on the final cut plan sheets. Yeah, you don't want to mess with them. It won't fit inside your sheet. That's the biggest thing. And this tells you once it's completely filled out, we can start. And this is optional. Select the alignment. We've already selected ours. So what we want to do, and this is also optional, where he's left clicking along to place the border. So let's go do that. Let's do this. So in Power Geopack, it's telling me to accept. So I'm going to accept it, and you can see now the name boundary starts to show up. And as I move my mouse around, it shows me how many sheets I can create. And I'm going to go to the third sheet, and then I'm going to go ahead and left click to place these boundaries out. You can see my overlap in there. It gives me a little bit of room as I move. So I'm going to go ahead and left click. That's still not the end of the process. You have to accept it one more time to verify this is what you want to see. So go ahead and left click one more time. It takes a minute, it processes, and there's our borders. Okay. Okay, now there's other things here with optional. You can move the shapes as needed to get the correct area for the clipping shape. Now currently, the shapes will not dynamically follow along the alignment. And also what's not supported is the ability to move the preceding and following clipping shapes when moving a shape. So if we wanted to move this middle one, these two, the one in front of it and the one behind it, they don't move. They stay right where they're at. We've lost that functionality that we had in SS2, SS4, SS10, all that. So what you can do is it will support the move tool. You can move these things. And what it would be doing is just going to the drawing tab and then finding your move command, which is right here under manipulate. You could actually come out here, select it, and move it. Now you can see it's not tied to anything or anything, so you'd have to either use some AccuDraw or whatever, however you want to move this along that alignment. But hopefully they'll get that fixed. And you cannot rotate the shapes. The rotate is broken at this point in time while I'm doing this video. So the only thing you can really do is move the shapes. Okay, you can see we went 50 foot, so in the beginning we got a little bit of a 50 foot, and then down here we got 50 foot between them, and it's measuring along the alignment. Okay. Okay, so we got 3 shapes out there, and that brings us to step number 13, which is how to create the plan sheet. So we're going to select the Manage Name Boundary tool. Move this back out of the way. If I go back to this tool, under the Drawing Production again, on the ribbon, you're going to see Name Boundaries down here at the bottom. And this little button off to the side, which is kind of important, is the Manage Name Boundary tool. So we're going to select it. And when you select it, you're going to see all the name boundaries that you've created in this file, which we only have one. So if I select it on the left side here with this little arrow, it'll open up and show me my created name boundary of Route 54. If I open it up, it's going to show us the 3 plan sheets that's got to get created. Okay. Go back to the manual. Before we do anything, we want to make sure that we toggle on this button up here. This will give us a create drawing option, which is it's really important that you do toggle this on. So if it's off, let's show the create button. What this does is when we start to process and create these sheets, it gives us another dialog where we need to set up some important stuff. So let me go on down and thing. So we're in step number 15. There's a couple ways of doing this. In these instructions, it just says select the Route 54 and do a right click and create plan drawing. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to come down to the Route 54 group. You can select it anywhere. And you can either use this icon up on the banner, create plan drawing, or you can do like the instructions and right click over it and create plan drawing. Again, verify that this button is on. So we'll go ahead and create plan drawing. And it brings us to our next dialog, which is step number 16. All kind of stuff here. Okay, so step 16, you can see there's a lot of stuff over here that I've got highlighted and marked on and whatnot. So the first thing you want to do is make sure that this right here is selected. We want one sheet per DGN. If not, if this is unchecked, it will create models of all your plan sheets. So we want to make individual DGN files. So we're going to select this button, and then the next thing I'm going to do is navigate to the plan sheet folder, because right now it's saying it's going to go to wherever I got this. So I'm going to say browse, and I'm going to have to navigate to where I'm at. And this could be fun. Where did my folders go? There it is. Okay, so navigating down on the Miller, and then the job number, and then engineering. At this point in time, this is the way it's set up. Roadway, data 9, I'll open that up, and then the plan sheets. That's where I want to store these, is in that data 9 folder. So once I get it there, I'll go ahead and hit OK. If I look at the back of this, you see we're drilling down. We're going to send this to the plan sheets folder. So if I look at ProjectWise for a moment, there's nothing in there. So we're going to go ahead and run this. So, okay, so that's important to turn on. Very important to path it out to where you want it. The other part is the naming of this file, the files that we're going to create. What I'm going to do is come down here to this name area, and I'm going to copy this out, because that's what I want to use. Copy, come over here, and I'm going to paste it. Now, there's a note in here. It says, no spaces or special characters, or the plotting routine will not work. And that's important, or else you've got to go out and rename these plan sheets afterwards. So it's always advisable to take time and set these 3 options up here right away, and make sure there's no special characters or spaces. Next thing we want to change is down here we've got an annotation. We want to make sure that's 1 inch equals 50 for our sheet. And then we're going to slide down and make sure that this says 1 inch by 50 here. So we're good. And we can't open the model. It will open up the last model that we create, and put it, or actually the plan sheet that we create. So we're going to go ahead and hit OK and let this process. And it'll take a little bit of time. You're going to get a dialog that wants us to update the server copy. And you can see down at the bottom of the process bar, we've got 1 sheet created. It's working on the next one. Once it gets those 3 sheets created, then we will get that update server copy dialog. Okay, sheet 2 is created. It's at 66%. It's working on the last one right now. Okay, here's that update server copy. We'll go ahead and update it. And then it'll give us a check-in of all the plan sheets it's creating. There's our name boundary, and here are the other 2 that's checked out. So we're going to just check them in, and it should bring us to the next sheet, or to the last sheet that we created, sheet 3. And when it opens up, our name boundary tool's no longer worth anything for us. You will get this informational. 1 or more reference files has been renamed or moved. ProjectWise has updated the master file to take those changes into account because we created new sheets in different folders. But it's okay. We'll just hit the close button. And again, this name boundary tool's done. You can't use it in here. So we'll go ahead and close it. and this is the plan sheet. Now you'll notice right off the bat it's white. Okay, this is how we differentiate the plan model from the drawing models. So you can see we've got our right-of-way lines in here. We got our terrain, and we got our edge of pavements, and we have the center line. So everything that we wanted came across. We got some notes that need to be moved. Some work to do in this. But the next thing you want to look at once you've opened up the plan, the plan sheet file, we want to look at the drawing view. So to do that, I do it from the models down below. I've got this tool parked on the bottom left, or you can come up to your Home tab and you can open up the models tool and see these models that's been created. You got a plan sheet model and you have a drawing model, and drawing doesn't always show up by the drawing model. It's one of the quirky things that they've got. So the way I identify them is definitely by looking at the type here on the end. Okay, so what you'll see is the white full sheet is your plan sheet. The gray folded over sheet is your drawing model. Okay, so that's how that works. So we're going to navigate into the drawing model. You could do it a couple different ways. You could double click on the drawing model here and it opens it up. I'll close it out. Or you can pick it from down here at the bottom. So if I want to go back to plan sheet, nope, I want drawing model. So that's how you see it. Now, the drawing model is designed to add geometry like text, notes, dimensions, extra reference files. The drawing model is still a 1-to-1 scale, so everything is the same scale as from the file that you cut the sheets from. Now the sheet model, this thing just shows you what's in the drawing model. And to be honest about it, there's nothing should be added in that sheet file or the sheet model. It's not recommended or supported by CAD. This is just a pretty picture of your project. Everything goes into that drawing model. So if you had a north arrow you wanted to place, a scale, some notes, this is where you do it. Now, we haven't covered how to add the north arrow, notes, scale, or clip anything out. And I will do a video specifically for that, and it'll be the last video in the series of these videos that I'm doing. You'll see your port is here, or the drawing model, like name boundary that we created, and you also see the sheet before it. Now, don't worry about turning these on or off. You could leave them in there. It'll show you what's going on with your sheets, and it doesn't show over in your plan sheet, so you don't see that stuff in there. So it's best just to leave it like it is, so you know where the boundary's at. If you turn the level off, they're on the same level, so both of these go away, and you kind of got to guess where you're going to place stuff in this drawing model. Okay, so that let me look at ProjectWise real quick. If I go back to ProjectWise, you can see we're in our Plan Sheets folder. It has created the 3 drawings that we wanted to create. So we're pretty much to go on this exercise.